all important themes. And in consistency, you are going to make sure that you are learning, your mindset is also changing, you are making notes out of it, and also trying to move in the right way. So, after obesity, GLP-1 research is focused on Alzheimer's hypothesis, centers on its ability to reduce inflammation in the brain, and this is different from the current approaches. So it is very important from the prelims examination that how GLP-1 drug works. This is going to come up, what actually it is doing. So it is a naturally occurring peptide hormone, water-soluble molecule, ranging from a few to 200 amino acids in length that regulates blood sugar and appetite. Now it is to last longer in the body. GLP-1 is attached to fatty acids which help the drug stick to a blood protein, albumin, which carries it around the body, protects it from being broken down too quickly. So it is, long acting. It is given also here. So the names are liraglutide and semaglutide, and it is also given how it is working. So this is very important from the prelims perspective. From the mains examination perspective, you can think of that how democratic countries, how modern times, how modern industry is able to bring so much a change. If you are able to prevent, attacks, if you are able to prevent strokes, if you are able to save lives. So completely novel. It is changing the way we see the treatment of obesity. It is not about the weight loss. It is about the cardiovascular benefits. More people are now getting benefit. So the scientific hypothesis is very, very important. And inflammation in the brain is one of the key things. Inflammation is one of the earliest processes involved in many diseases. Things begin to change slowly, triggered by different pathological stimuli, genetics, environment, other factors. So one of the first cells, which is one of the first sign that the cells are experiencing is inflammation. Similar patterns are there in other conditions. In diabetes, for example, pancreas doesn't function properly. In people with obesity, certain neurons become imbalanced, which can affect behavior, eating more or making less healthy food choices. So these are done by brain. So there is the point where GLP-1 comes into picture. The idea is to see whether GLP-1 can help correct the imbalance. And at this juncture, we can say that future is very, very bright. Denmark is planning to use copyright law to protect against deepfakes. So this is a learning for rest of the world. And deepfakes are a form of synthetic media which depict believable and realistic videos, pictures, audios. Never happened. They show real people doing or saying things that they never said or did. So they are synthetic media. It's a form of synthetic media. So it is a manipulation for wrong purposes. Artificial intelligence is making it more dangerous, more sophisticated, and deepfakes. Actually they create such situation that what we can say is that criminal activities do take place. So the bill proposes three forms of protection against deepfakes: imitation protection, which bars others from publicly sharing realistic digital recreations of a person, physical traits like facial features and voice; performance protection, and protection for performing artists. This is very, very important. So India, if we say, the courts have thus far resorted to concepts of privacy, defamation, and publicity rights while dealing with deepfakes. This is very important. For example, unauthorized use of their likeness of actors like Amitabh Bachchan and Anil Kapoor, Chakas, even for Jackie Shroff, even for Jackie Shroff ka bhi, there is some favorite dialogue. So means you can just relate with it. So that is how it is going to happen, and it is a way in the right direction. That's what we can say. Very important for prelims: rare earth minerals, Odisha, Gopalpur, strategic port locations, epicenter of India's rare earth minerals. So availability, strategic location, plug and play infrastructure, reliable utilities, and very important, the way map is shown. So Gopalpur port, Vishakhapatnam, Paradip port, Dhamra port, and that is Kolkata. So National Highway 16, Kolkata to Chennai, that's how it is, and East Coast Railway line also, and Bhubaneswar is there near, uh, you know. Secondly, 20% capital investment subsidy on plant and machinery without upper cap. This is incentive. 100% exempt on stamp duty, and 100% reimbursement of ESI or APF for 5 years. The permanent magnets, e-mobility, defense components of titanium oxide, other IT-based downstream products. These are all very, very important for the prelims. ilmenite, rutile, zircon, sillimanite, and garnet. US, very important for the mains examination, citizen-centric, technology-driven, proactive disaster management model, and 11 disaster notified as state disasters: boat accident, snake bite, sewer mishap, gas leak, borewell falls, human-wildlife conflict. They are all state disasters. 25 lakh, 25,000 lakh had been distributed till now. Computerized beneficiary management system, emergency response, fire safety modernization, rahat, rahat chapals, I should say, automatic weather stations, automatic rain gauges, snake bite reduction program, especially in the districts like Sonbhadra, Barabanki, and Ghazipur. Doppler weather radars, 444 digital signals installed at Tehsil district and division headquarters for disaster alerts and awareness. So wonderful and a role model for rest of India. That's what we can say. Why farm and dairy are stalling the US-India-US deal? So as we have discussed previously also, agriculture and allied sectors are very, very important. They have enjoyed high net exports historically, and India exports more than the imports. So India imposes strict mandates on animal feed practices such as vegetarian feed for cattle and is wary of genetically modified crops. These have been the point of contention between India and the US. So more clarity is there. So what we can say is that agriculture and allied products are very, very important. So you can see India's annual trade with the US and the net exports in major commodities. We can say agriculture and allied products is next to pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical is at the top. US has faced high tariffs from India on several agriculture products: alcohol, beverages, dairy products, processed food, fish, live animals and products, edible oils and cereals, vegetables and spices. So this is the tussle. India's tariffs in agriculture products are among the highest globally. So you can say India is at the third number, global rank is eighth. What we can say is eighth number it is there, and most favored nation, status we always portray to other of our colleagues, which represent same trade advantage to all the members of the WTO. So 8 countries with highest tariffs are being shown. That is how it is here. So India's policy is not unique. India's policy is from the perspective of self-interest, self-preservation, from the perspective of nation's interest. That is why it is. So you can just pick up certain ideas from here. In how India's vehicle market has changed in 3 decades. So we are producing 31% and we are exporting also 17%. That's how it is. And share of vehicles exported from India by category, if you see, then two-wheeler we are a great exporter, and we are the two-wheeler is we are exporting, and then commercial vehicles also, and then passenger vehicles also. So you know passenger vehicles and two-wheelers and passenger vehicles is one of the biggest changes and identity. That's what we can say. So it is very, very important to bring in your answers. What India is now doing to avoid fertilizer shock? So सऊदी अरेबिया के साथ हमने साइन किया, हमने पहले भी बात की थी. Total share is about 26% to 29%, and India is self-sufficient. If that is the point, no, we are not self-sufficient. For example, urea domestic production accounts for 71% of nation's demand. In contrast of NPK, it is about 84%. But when it comes to DAP, the second most used crop nutrient after urea, the local production just cover 40% of the 10 million annual demand. So that means we are producing only 4 million ton. And in case of muriate of potash, a potassium-based nutrient essential for plant growth, 100% consumption is imported. Very important from the prelims perspective, and you can bring the answer in the mains also. Russia, one of the main source, 22%. Then Saudi Arabia, Oman, China, Morocco. So India is almost dependent on import for the raw material that go into producing fertilizers. It import all the potash needs, 90% of rock potash, and most of it sulfur requirement. So in spite of the Chinese restrictions, we have already discussed in detail in one of our earlier sessions. Please do look into it. They are very critical for the vibrant farm, and also they are very much critical for long-term development. The skills that are shaping hiring partners. So digital literacy, very important. Customer experience, communication, team collaboration, adaptability, critical thinking, inventory and supply chain management is at the low level. Enjoy free speech with restraint, not abuse. That's what it is there. So In 2023, Supreme Court recognized a horizontal approach to the right to freedom of speech and expression. Citizen can invoke rights not just against the state, but also against other citizens. Essentially, a citizen can sue other citizens for violating free speech. That was in 2023. Presently, the government says that one of the fundamental duties is to uphold the unity and integrity of India. If it is violative, divisive tendencies, and on social media, but then it is a problematic thing. So citizens must guarantee themselves. They know the value of freedom of speech and expression. If they will not do it, then state will have to enter. So that is why Article 90 is against the state vertically, but then horizontally, as I'm saying, that we have to be also in the also in the crux. So in the interest of fraternity, secularism, and dignity of individuals, we have to go into this beyond this petition. As far as this case is concerned, that is what the government was saying. So fraternity must be there among all the citizens, and awareness is very, very important. India-China ties have made good progress. Border is moving toward de-escalations. Restrictive trade measures and roadblocks are being avoided, but China cannot be trusted, and we have to move forward with a positive mindset. We have to see our interest. Economic challenges are there in the relationship, and the rare earth magnet supply thing, and then apart from it, other uh, fertilizer thing is also there. So successful SCO presidency in that context is very, very important, and India is committed to ensuring good outcomes and decisions. And 75 years of our diplomatic relations we are celebrating. A resumption of Mansoor Kailash Yatra is also appreciated, so that's how it is. And one has to see from a long-term perspective. Delhi government to host Khadi fashion show, highlight Vedic culture. So this is about very important for not only not only for employment and awareness, but it is also very important for certain cultural values. Next generation bullet train, as I already discussed once, they are actually the latest model which are going to be there to be introduced both in India and in Japan at the same time. So this showcases the great great challenge and great chance both for Mumbai Ahmedabad high speed rail corridor, and E10 trains will be there. E5 we will be doing for trials. So World Bank gets it wrong. India cannot have the world's lowest consumption inequality and highest income inequality. Surjit S. Bhalla is saying that the facts are clear and unambiguous. Consumption inequality in India was the lowest in 2022-23. However, the debate on this messy and bordering is very, very solid. That's what he's saying. So, contrary to popular narrative, India is not merely the world's fourth largest economy; it is also the fourth most equal society. So that is a great thing. Government, what we can say is has been bringing so many policies, programs, and everything, and that is why we can say so. Inequality has always been discussed in India, and assumptions have been always taken by different sections of society. World Bank, they have constructed the popular and respected poverty inequality platform, which provides data for all the official consumptions and income surveys in the world. So these data are comparable in nature also. And what we can say is that apart from Gini coefficient, there can be other methods also, but this is one of the ways to do so. So that is why a World Inequality Database it showcases that different kind of attitudes and ideas. So for developing country, uh, it is an important milestone. So that is why World Bank has been a pioneer and also a leader in verification, collection, and consumption of income distribution. So it is also important to see that when World Bank says that India has the lowest consumption inequality in the world, and in the same way it is also talking about highest income inequality. This is a paradox. So that is why we are saying that when so many people are coming out of poverty and then things are moving ahead, so that is why credibility becomes very, very important. Champions keep playing until they get it right. Billie Jean King, yes, definitely. We also believe in the same story, and that is why we also keep on working. You go and check out our previous sessions, they will be a learning for you. Without that, you can't move on. Indians lost 7,000 crore to cyber frauds in January to May only this year. Very, very shocking. This should also motivate you. अगर कुछ बड़ा करना है तो part play कीजिए. हम भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपनी जगह. So that is why cyber financial citizen सिटीजन फाइनेंशियल साइबर फ्रॉड रिपोर्टिंग एंड मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, ये आप वर्ड याद कर लीजिए, इसको लिख लीजिए। एंड देन द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस कि आपको अगर बोला जाए कि आप एक फुल प्रूफ प्लान बनाइए तो आप 4 पॉइंट क्या बनाएंगे, ये आप लिख के मुझे डालिए। इन्वायरमेंट मिनिस्ट्री डिफेंस रिवाइज फ्रेमवर्क फॉर थर्मल प्लांट्स टू मीट SO2 नॉर्म्स, जिसकी हमने पहले भी चर्चा की कि जो SO2 नॉर्म्स हैं वो एक SO2 इज एन हार्मफुल गैस एंड इज एमिटेड व्हेन द कोल इज बर्न इन एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन। इट आल्सो एड्स formation of secondary pollutants. So the norms for sulfur dioxide emission from thermal power plants notified on 11 July is based on the extensive consultations, and then they are believing in the fact that we must not tweak. Otherwise, more and more efforts would have to be paid. So that is why SO2 norms for coal and lignite power plants, they were introduced in 2015 and the compliance was divided. But now they are saying that it is not required in that way. So that is why it is a move forward, I would say. And secondly, the framework is changing. So it is not a kind of a dilution only; it is a kind of a way forward, and they have done it with the prior discussion with the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute (NERI) and Central Pollution Control Board and even IIT Delhi. So the framework, revised framework, is actually meeting the future norms, and it is not a kind of a regulatory dilution. The cartoonists look at their conduct. That is very important. Supreme Court is saying that it is not about making fun. It is not about behavior which is mature. That's what the Supreme Court is saying. So this is obviously subject to our discussion, but then this is what is decided. Very important, a very unique and an amazing gentleman, and role model for all of us. You can always quote it in the ethics also, in essay also, and you can always speak in the interview also that who inspires you. Fauja Singh defied age on marathon track, dies in road accident at 114. This is what is shocking. This is what talks about road safety. This is what talks about awareness. This is what talks about lax rule. This is talk about no deterrent. So फौजा सिंह जी, मतलब टर्बन टॉर्नेडो जिनको कहा गया है, वो हमारे लिए रोल मॉडल ही नहीं है, हमारे लिए मतलब देवता तुल्य मैं कहूंगा कि ऐसी पुण्य आत्मा है. Retail inflation falls to over 6 years low. So this is a very important trend which will be focusing upon growth, and which will be actually giving opportunity. So RBI may also take step further to cut down. ICRA expects headline CPI inflation to recede further and bottom out at 1.9% in July 2025. So this is what is actually making things easier. People will be able to, consume more, and also obviously it is helping growth when you are going to provide that money which is saved into investment. Energy measures critical for civil nuclear sector play. This is very, very important. Again, low carbon energy. India has a target of 100 gigawatt by 2047 from the current 8.1. 20,000 crore for research and development for small modular reactors. Atomic Energy Act and Civil Liability Nuclear Damage Act are likely to be amended in the monsoon session. State-run NTPC alone is aiming 30 gigawatts. So this is very, very important. Very, very important. So Tata Power is also looking forward to it. Amendment is going to be done to the Atomic Energy Act 1962 and the Civil Liability for the Nuclear Damage 2010 to facilitate the entry of private firms. It is happening after 17 years when the first it was signed. And 8.1% gigawatt is barely 2% of the total electricity generation capacity. We have to increase it. So that is why NTPC alone is moving ahead, and the others will be also following the suit. State and NPCIL, that is Nuclear Power Corporation of India, has been the lone commercial player in the country to undertake civil power nuclear power ventures, and the entire extent capacity belongs to it. Baba Atomic Research Center, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, and the Indian Rare Earths Limited have also played a very, very important role, because India plans to triple its nuclear power capacity of 22.8 gigawatt by financial year 32 with 10 plants under construction. तो ये पॉइंट आप पूरा का पूरा मेंस के लिए नोट कर लीजिए. L&T is also playing a very important role. L&T is looking forward to special steel and heavy forgings to tie up with Holtec, the US-based company. So what we can say is that nuclear power sector for private participation is going to be a great changer. Sea changer will be there. Employment by GCC is expected to go by 2.8 million by 2030. Very, very important. So employment is going to create next set skills, create more money in the economy. It is going to create high level of living, and even our per capita income will be increasing. And most importantly, that skill is going to give India a leverage. So high value added work, high value is very important. It is not just about assembling complex work that requires significant understanding of business context and other imperatives. So GCC is growing 13 times faster. They are going to get legislative support. They are going to get tech support. 50% of the Fortune 500 companies have GCC in India. Very important. Contributing to 68 billion directly as a gross value addition. And India's GCC ecosystem has matured. So that is why setup rate of for engineering research and development has grown by 1.3%. India should not lose this, incentive and this advantage. One can say that there is a scope. Government is also facilitating in the next 20, 30 years. It is going to be the talent, Indian talent, which is going to provide success to the future of India. And we can say that it will be a milestone when it comes to human development index, when it comes to quality of living, and when it's come to even urbanization. Tariff tweaks India to gain in over half of the exports to US, mineral fuels, electronic plastics. These are sectors are going to be benefited because US is also going to lower down percentage of share export to US, where India will gain is 61%, where US will gain is 68%. So this is a bilateral agreement. This is going to bring a structural change even in the approach which India is exporting, and we are also picking up. So once it is finalized, you can mug up, you can remember which articles, the number of articles, and also where it is doing up. How India is failing to use education to leverage this demographic dividend is visible from Pratham and also from Parak and also from National Achievement Survey. But the question is not the problem. The question is that how we should solve it. So India shied away from participating in PISA long back, but then that is not point. Infrastructure, training, surveillance, vigilance, zeal, community involvement. So many factors must be taken up, as we have spoken about it time and again. BRICS Plus is a very important factor. So there are common purpose, but the 49% of the world population and 41% of the global output in purchasing power terms. So BRIC is at par with the G7 in some ways, but then the question is that it must have more geographical cohesion. It must address each other's concern more intently. And if the US is not going to take anti approach, then we are going to see that how actually we can be benefited. So BRIC is going to pick up those ideas which are relevant for India, but then if it is not going to if it is not going to work for India's core interest, then the question arises, क्या हमारे लिए relevant रह जाएगा? So that is how we have to see. So जैसा कि यहाँ पे लिखा भी हुआ है कि nothing endures but change. हेराक्लिटस ने ऐसा बोला, तो हम उसको यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू के लिए भी देख सकते हैं. स्ट्रैटेजिक इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की जहां तक बात है, तो अगर मैं बात करूं तो हम कह सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर एग्जाम्पल भी दिए हैं उन्होंने, बिकॉज ही इज अ फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ऑफ LIC एंड SEBI. So he is saying that this sector, IRDAI, is embracing a very important step. और इंडिया का इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर का पेनिट्रेशन बढ़ाने की बात करते हैं. इंश्योरेंस ट्रिनिटी ऑफ बीमा सुगम, बीमा विस्तार, बीमा वाहक. So Bima Sugam is one-stop digital marketplace for seamless sale and purchase. Bima Vistar is comprehensive policy incorporating life, health, property, and accident cover with defined benefits for each category to cover ensure quick settlement. And third, we are saying that the role of Bima Wahak is very important, that is agent. So it is a very important question, like the previous one we have discussed in context of BRICS Plus, and before that we have spoken about nuclear energy. Similarly is the question, like here, it is very important. Penetration is very low. Total premium in 2006 as a proportion of GDP reached 4.8%, but in 2021, life policies were down to 3.2% and non-life to 1%. So insurance is very important, but then India must have that spare money. So the question is that how we are going to promote it. So Bima Wahak, it's very important. They must get due insurance, means due incentives, not insurance. And one insurer per state runs the risk of monopolistic dominance. For example, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, sub-service areas, and then bank accounts are also there. So we have to make sure that how to make sure that more and more people are actually part of the insurance. China's exports beat expectations after the truce with the US in terms of trade. So shipments to the US are fell by 61%, 16%, but the question is that China went on to rise. So this is a sign that how structural, how strategic, how technical these things are being there. New hydropower plants lined up for J&K in the post-Indus playbook is very, very important, because we have already spoken about that how India is going to take strategic steps. So water distribution deal as brokered by World Bank in 1960, which capped India's storage capacity in these rivers at 3.6 million acre feet, is going to be changed. So the Pakistani objections and challenges in the project completion made it difficult for India to develop infrastructure. Now India can do it because India has only built run of the river power plants, okay, which use natural flow of river to generate electricity without the need for a large dam and reservoir in basin. Pakal project is very important on Marusudar River, a tributary of Chenab, is the only river-based hydropower project. So the cumulative capacity, including Pakal Bursar, Vardhaman, Bursar, Gispa, and Ratle, is 2.23 million acre feet. So with the WTIBNs, the hydro project developers can now use low-level sluice spillways, better desalting mechanisms, multifunctional capabilities that would cater to irrigation and flood control along with hydropower generation. This is very, very important. And potential of hydropower projects in Indus Basin is about 32, what I should say, 32.32 gigawatt, out of which 55 gigawatt is operational, and 4.8 gigawatt is under construction. So the estimated cost is about 12 to 15 trillion. So this is very important. 0.09 million acre feet, the capacity of Pakaldul project, and 32 is the estimated potential, you must remember, and a couple of other facts also. With these ideas and thoughts, I ask you to prepare your own notes, give for questions, go for ideas. Without that, there is no success. I again repeat you, this is the core part of our training programs, and that is why you must be able to replicate the belief and the symphony in answers. Without that, no success will be there in the examination. So let's get success, let's get ideas, let's get going with Ansarkari. Thank you very much.